See, guys, so I'm back. I realize it's much more how I want to talk about things around my life, for example, and what's going on with my life. I realize I'm making much better music now than ever before. And the reason for this is because I have enough practice now to be able to understand exactly how to make techno music, basing it on decent standards. And it's not the best music in life, but it's something in the middle. Okay, and now for myself, I realize that all my music and everything that I've ever created in terms of content has been the best content that I could make. Okay, but the thing is that now I'm getting to a point where I'm actually doing much better than before in terms of making content. And now all I have to do is progress forward with content and producing content so that I can do better and so I can realize that there's a time and place for everything. But I realize that the next steps forward for me now is to make sure that I can go and improve my health because I've been lacking in my health, for example, in most recent times. I've been lacking in my health because I've been smoking cigarettes and I've been drinking caffeine, for example. And I've also started eating meat again. You know, and so the thing is that I'm a vegan, but I started eating meat. You know, I started eating meat, but now I'm getting to the point where I just quit caffeine, for example, and I'm looking to overcome coffee. I'm looking to overcome coffee for good so that I can tackle cigarettes, for example. So for the next month of my life, I'm going to tackle coffee. I'm going to make sure when I wake up in the morning or when I wake up, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to drink coffee. I'm not going to drink Red Bulls. And I'm going to try to tackle cigarettes like that because that's how I succeeded before. But when I try to quit cigarettes and caffeine at the same time, I find it's much more difficult for me to do so. So before in my life, I quit caffeine first and then I tackled the cigarettes and I succeeded. So you have to realize that the stupidest decision I ever made in my life was to start smoking cigarettes again and also to start drinking caffeine again. So that was the stupidest mistake I've ever made in my life. And you have to realize that now, since I'm doing Toastmasters still, and I'm still doing things around helping myself to succeed, I realize it's not about becoming famous for me. I realize it's just about getting myself out there. I want to get myself out there and I want to expose who I am much more. So, what does that mean? I realize I want to talk about myself more. Yes, I want to express who I am in my nature. And the only way to do that is to create more content and to be making sure every single day I'm posting as much content as possible up online so that I can feed myself knowledge and so I can grow. But I feel that I need to pressurize myself at this time to do better. And now, for me, in terms of masturbation, you have to realize that I quit masturbation over 30 days ago. And you have to realize that the reason I've done that is because I find that masturbating is a waste of time. And I find myself more attractive now toward women and stuff like that because I don't think of them as a sexual object or anything like that. And the reason I was thinking about women in that kind of way is because I grew up around those kind of people who are thinking like that. So I thought that was the kind of cool thing to do, you understand? But now I realize when I look at a woman and when I look at women overall, I have much more respect for them in terms of human nature. And I realize that it's much more how I want to go a certain direction in my life now where I want to progress forward. And now I don't make the best music in the world, but I make something that's decent enough to listen to. You understand? So you have to realize that there's so much competition out there in terms of music production and in terms of everything in life. But you have to realize that you have to do better than yourself, and you don't have to compare yourself to other people. You have to compare yourself to yourself. You understand? So when you compare yourself to yourself, what happens is you start to see exactly where you're improving and where you're not, and what you can do to change your type of calendar in terms of life. So you have to realize that in life, you have to succeed and you have to move forward every single day and you have to talk it out with yourself, for example. And now, for example, my dad, you have to realize that he watches a lot of TV at night and he also sleeps some of the time. but he's also eating and drinking and going to the toilet just like everyone else. But the thing is that what he could do better in my life is to talk about things with me. Yes, and to talk about things with me. To push himself to motivate me in a way that he listens to my music more, and where he motivates me to do some content in front of him and stuff like that, where I can help myself to just be much more connected to him in ways that he doesn't have to neglect our relationship for the TV, you understand? But the thing is that it's much more how I don't need him to connect with me because he's connecting with me already. But all I need is just more inspiration. I need more inspiration to keep going. And you have to realize that God's a motivating factor for you every single day. And you have to realize that God talks to you in silence. And you have to realize that God's always talking to you for other people and for animals and for everything. You know what I'm saying? So you have to realize that things happen for a reason and you have to succeed. So you have to move forward regardless of your life. You have to be making something work for yourself. You understand? So you have to realize that every single day of my life now, since I'm progressing in my music and since I'm progressing as a person now, I realize that now it's just help myself to succeed and nothing else. I realize I just want to focus on success and the best ways to do so. I realize that there's a time coming where I have to work the 9 to 5 job. I understand that. But until I get there, I'm gonna make loads of music because you never know. I might need to produce my music. I might need to DJ my music around clubs and stuff. But it's a progress. I realize it's a progressing manner, and I realize that life is progressive. You understand, and you have to realize that maybe someday I make it into a nightclub, for example, and I start playing my music out in front of crowds, and start getting myself out there much more. But the thing is that in terms of life, that means busking for me. I realize as soon as the rise of EDM comes out, I want to go to Officeworks. And since I want to go to Officeworks, which is a printing company here in Australia, I want to print out at least 100 business cards and just go on the street, just promote my music. For example, I want to go Cabramatta first, and I just want to play my music live, for example. And I don't want to smoke while I'm promoting my music, for example, because it's going to be much healthier for me to do so. But the thing is that I have to plan my life around. I have to every single day succeed in some kind of fashion, every single day talk about my life. But you have to realize that before in my life, I realized I had to upload a lot of content online. I had to upload all these videos online that I was doing randomly every single day. And now, what's changed between now and since 2 years ago? I realized the thing is that I've grown as a person. I've matured in some kind of way, and I've also boosted my confidence. And I've got smarter. I've gotten smarter as well as a person, and I'm much better in my music now. So you have to realize that I'm also better in my life coaching now than ever before. And I realized that if my life was to end today, then so be it. I realize it's much more how I have just another maybe. I'm on quote book 24 right now. I have quote book 36. So that's another 12 quote books to go in terms of to transcribe, to put it online and stuff. I realize there's plenty of time for that, but maybe my time is running out. I don't know. So you have to realize that if time runs out for you, then what you can do is just help yourself to understand that and just to relax and to enjoy your life. I realize if you get cancer in your life, make sure you understand something. Make sure you get away from the 9 to 5 job. I mean, get yourself in hospital, for example, and just live life and live your days, you understand? But the thing is that you have to realize that some cancers can be treated and can be totally removed from your life. But other cancers in terms of life can affect you so much that to the point of death you go. You know what I'm saying? So you have to realize that in life you have to talk and you have to push yourself to talk. And now recently I've been feeling like a failure only in health. just in health, I've been feeling like a failure. And now it's because I've been smoking cigarettes, it's because I've been drinking caffeine. And now caffeine is not shown to decrease your lifestyle, but the thing is that it does decrease your lifestyle in terms of energy. So you have to realize that there was a point in my time where I was waking up and I was really, let's say, happy. I was so happy in life to just wake up. And once I woke up, I had this enthusiasm going about me because things were working out for me. And now today, I realize things are working out for me still, but just not in health right now. You understand? So the thing is that my health is declining. You understand? So the thing is that I'm not trying to be upset about it. I'm just trying to live with it. But the thing is that, for example, my dad has been smoking for over 40 years now, and nothing's wrong with him, and nothing's right about him either. But the thing is that you have to realize that he doesn't have cancer, for example. I realized my grandfather smoked for over 60 years, and he didn't have cancer. But my grandpa and grandmother from my mum's side did. You understand? They died from cancer. So the thing is that cancer, for example, kills you slowly, as you understand. But it will be much more devastating for me to die from a heart attack than to die from cancer, for example. And why is that? Because I feel that heart attack is something different in terms of it does hurt to have a heart attack, and it just happens suddenly. While cancer, when you have cancer, for example, you're able to know that you're gonna die very soon, but you're not gonna die in a way that's very fast. You understand? Whereas heart attack is very sudden and it happens right away, and suddenly you just die straight away. So I think that's the worst way to go out, is have a heart attack in life. But the thing is that you have to treat yourself, you understand? You have to treat your conditions, you have to treat the person you are, and you have to treat yourself with respect. Because when you don't treat yourself with respect, you feel like a failure. You understand? You just feel like a failure, and I don't want you to feel like a failure. But the cool thing about my life is that I get to talk, I get to speak words, I get to express myself. And now, I don't know how far I'm going to go in life, but the one thing that I done the most in life, to my ability, was make content for everyone. You understand? I tried to produce content as much as possible so that I can get my thoughts heard, so that I can get to someone in life, so that I can help them. But what would I do in the age of 1800s when there were no computers? I mean, you would understand back then it was much more different. I realized back then it was much more of a writer, or to create music in a way of classical music on the nice and beautiful score sheet, for example. I mean, there was no electronic music, for example. So there was only classical music going on and stuff like that. But music has evolved very much. And if you look at today's music, you can understand that there's so much technology out there around music now that you have to be in tune with it if you're a music producer. And if you're not a music producer, then you have to be a life coach. You understand? So the thing is that if you're not coaching others, I promise you, you're losing. You understand? So when I look at other people, for example, who are not life coaching nor doing music production, and all they're doing is 9 to 5 work, for example, I see those people are just trying to make a kid and give everything to that kid, for example, and that's it. I realize that life is like that, but you have to realize that some people have no kids and they inherit everything from their family and stuff. That's if they're a single kid in their family. I realize I'm a single kid from my family. I realize that with my mum and dad, I realize I inherit everything from them as much as possible. But I realize that no matter what happens, I realize I just give. Yes, and just give as much as possible. And you just have to realize that you have to talk. You have to get yourself out there. And the more you talk, the more you can go places. That's what I've realized, that some things get handed to you for free. You understand? Like, for example, life, money, you understand, family, and just random things get handed to you for free, like God, Jesus Christ, breathing, air, silence. And you just gotta learn to respect that. I mean, make sure you don't get on the street in terms of homelessness so that you can live your life. But you have to realize that life happens quickly. And life's going quick, to be honest. I remember when I was 18 years of age, I realized this person was so far less than this person I am now in terms of everything. I realize my confidence has risen ever since. I produce more content now. I I don't neglect myself as much as that person now. I realize I respect the law. I respect the human laws and stuff like that. I do what I can to succeed. But you have to realize something also, that if you're watching child pornography and child abuse and stuff on the internet, you have to realize it's illegal to do so. So if the police catch you watching that stuff, then you can go to jail for that, okay? And you could be recognized as a pedophile, for example. So be careful. And pedophilia is something that, for example, has sex with kids. So if you're an adult having sex with kids, you're a pedophile or a pedophilia. So you have to be careful to never become a pedophile in your life. For example, make sure you have standards. Make sure you grow up as a beautiful person every single day. I realize that I can see Beethoven and what he said in his quote, for example, and I realize he says that he'd rather write 10,000 notes than any letter of the alphabet. And now you have to understand that Jesus Christ is the other way around. You understand? I realize Jesus Christ rather speak words into life than create music into life. But he's more often like that in this world, in terms of this world, Mother Earth. But I'm sure in heaven, I'm sure Jesus Christ is producing music and doing everything. He's probably having sex with people. I don't know what he's doing, to be honest, but I think a heaven that allows you to do everything with everybody, that doesn't break God's commandments, is the best thing. Do you understand? So I seriously await the day until I die, because when I die, I realize it's much more how I get to go and see for myself what something eternal is and what something out of this life is. And even Jesus Christ said in the Bible that there's something better than this world. You understand? So you have to realize that that's a fairy tale. I realize the word of God is a fairy tale. But fairy tales are very true, you understand? So you have to realize that when you have something so special in your life where you're doing something that you're so passionate about and other people don't care, make sure you care. Make sure you care. Because you have to realize that when I'm making music, for example, it's amazing to me how I can make any sound. I can go and buy sounds and I can produce those sounds. I can go and detune a sound, I can EQ it, I can make up a sound that works for me, and I can just make something come true. You understand? And the ability to make music in terms of electronic music, even though it's not the best music, but I'm really trying my best right now in terms of my music production. So the thing is that I just got myself monitor speakers for the second time in my life. And I realized I might have to get it a third time in my life. But right now, over the next years of my life, I'm going to be producing music, and I'm going to be in this state of mind where, in terms of life, where I create music, and I'm so happy that I can create something. And because I can create something, I can talk about it, I can live my life, I can produce words. I realize words is another thing where I can speak my mind. And because I can speak my mind and I have an opinion, I can give that opinion on YouTube and stuff and just keep going with it, for example, and just love my life for what it is. But I realize I'm trying my best. You know, I'm trying my best to succeed. I'm trying my best to do everything possible to make sure that I inspire myself to grow. And that's what I need to do. But everyone grows to die. Yes, and everyone's growing to die one day. But maybe sometime in life you get to relax and you get to just enjoy. And once you enjoy and relax and you just do nothing, just listen to silence, be in peace, go into that different space of mind, have a new vision for yourself, envision what you want to do for yourself, create something in your life like a new experience that you've never done before, go a certain way in a certain direction in your life. It's going to help you and other people, for example. You have to realize that's what you need to do, but you have to realize that in my life right now, in terms of my music production, I'm trying my best, and you have to realize that my music is now much better than yesterday. And when I look at other people's music, I realize I'm nowhere near to the way I want to be in terms of style and in terms of, let's say, not direction. I have my direction, but I'm nowhere near to the point where I see other people make music. So you have to realize I'm getting closer, but the difference between them and me in terms of music production now is just sound bank. They have different sounds. Maybe they create better melodies than me, for example, but maybe they create a better kick than me, for example. And what else? I realize maybe they understand the technology behind things much better, maybe the mixing as well, but the sound design, I can do the sound design. I can do the exact same sound design as anybody in this world now. I can realize that to my truest extent. That now, when I create music, I realize I know the sound I want and I can produce that sound. And now everything else is mixing, okay? And when you're mixing, you mix the music to your earring in terms of how you want it to sound, not by what other people want your music to sound like, but to your ear. You know, so when you're mixing music, for example, which is just adjusting volumes on different tracks, and you have to realize that it's up to you if you want your synth to sound louder than the clap or anything like that. But the thing is that there are little and different methods of skills and ways of producing music now and that people are getting into, like different genres, and you have to realize that you have to do something and you have to create something. So when I'm in the state of creating something, I'm happy. And now, am I happy right now? I am happy right now. I realized the other day I was crying. I was crying because there was a guy out there who's had sex with so much women. And I know it's childish to cry like that. But the thing is that I was crying because I felt that I wasn't good enough. You understand? I felt I wasn't good enough for women and stuff like that. You understand? And that's the true thing, that I felt that women were having sex with this man who apparently is good enough for them, but not me. And I was comparing, and that's why I was crying, you understand? So the thing is that the bottom line is, don't cry. You understand? It's nice to express yourself, But if you cry too much about it, then you can kill yourself, you understand? So the thing is that we want you to be in a happy state. I want you to be in a happy state. I want you to talk about things, talk about life. You understand? I realized recently that TikTok has a spam option, which means if you post too much content on TikTok, they're going to send you a message saying you're spamming. And so does Instagram do that. I haven't realized that YouTube does that. I've never seen YouTube do it. But I'm sure that maybe YouTube does it as well, where YouTube is posting maybe things where you're spamming and stuff. I think I've seen it before online somewhere that you're not allowed to spam anywhere online. Understand? So the thing is, you're allowed to spam, but the thing is, it gets on people's nerves, and you don't want to annoy people. So it's much more talk your life out, talk out something, and just help yourself to express who you are. Yes, and express yourself. Try to every single day look at life differently, help yourself differently. Try to be an influence to yourself and other people. Do you understand? I see when you do that, you can help people. You can do something special for yourself. You can enable yourself to succeed in different ways. And you just have to learn how to grow. You understand? You have to learn how to be. So words take me in a different direction every single day. And I'm always wondering about my life. Am I going to succeed? Am I going to succeed? How much of my life do I need to do in order to get to the point where I need to go? I mean, what do I need to create today to make sure that I can manifest something better for myself? I realize now that I have my music on Spotify, I realize it's much more, I'm just waiting for my album to get up online. I realize once my 2 albums go up online, I will go on the street. I will go on the street, and I've been anticipating that for the past, let's say, 1 month. I've been anticipating myself to go on the street and just to promote my music. But I'm keen to look at reactions. I'm understanding that I might get trouble from people. Or as maybe someone says to me, shut down your music or something like that. You understand? But the thing is that I have to go my own direction. And I have to get myself out there. I have to go brand myself, for example. I have to go Bankstown, or I have to go somewhere around places where I can take photos of myself. And now I don't look the best ever. I understand that. I don't look at my best. But in some ways I do. And now I understand how far I have to go in terms of everything. But I've matured. And now how have I most recently matured in my life? And now the best way I matured is I don't masturbate anymore. You understand? And now I may go on a porn site here and there to see something in terms of sex and stuff, but I don't masturbate to it, for example. But I try to stay away from pornography, to be honest. And now, since I try to stay away from pornography and masturbation as much as possible, the thing is that how else have I matured? I've matured in my music. That's one way. I've matured as a person in my confidence. I realize I'm able to speak much better now. I'm able to see my point of view in terms of what I want to say and stuff like that. I'm able to promote better. For example, I'm able to market myself better. I'm able to do things better now. And that's the main thing. I realize that things happen for a reason. And you need to be into yourself, you understand? You have to be into yourself. You have to realize that things are going to happen for certain reasons. And you just have to see what you want out of life. Talk about it every single day. And the more you talk about it, the better you are. You understand? So, do I feel like a failure right now? I don't feel like a failure right now. But there's always something more I can do. Yes, and there's always something more that I need to do. Like produce content. Like produce content, for example. I need to produce content. I realize the more I produce content, the more I get myself in a better state of mind. And the more I'm living life, to be honest. But I understand that the fame is not the way. You see, it's not about fame. But I can see about having followers in life. I realize it's nice to have followers. And if fame does happen, then so let it be. But everyone needs to put in their fair share of work, doing something every single day that's going to give other people an experience. You understand? That's the ultimate way of life. You have to give other people an experience. Just like Jesus Christ gave you an experience about life. You understand? So the more you grow and the more you really help yourself to succeed every single day, the more you can realize that there's so much more that you can do. And you just have to push it into life. You have to push those words. You have to push everything into life as much as possible and just do your best work. You understand? That's all you have to do every single day is oblige by the rules and realize that your fantasy of the person that you want to be is at your footsteps in terms of you need to take those steps, and you have to realize that everyone's here to win, you understand, but not to win against others, but to win against themselves, to win with themselves. You understand? You have to win yourself over. You have to win over your mind. You have to win over your heart. You have to win over the person you are. And when you truly feel that you're doing much better, when you're truly at that point of time when you can say, hey, now I'm my best version, then that's the best state of mind to be in. You understand? It's the best state of mind to be at that point in time where you can be and utterly know that everything you're doing is for the benefit of humans and that you're benefiting yourself the most in that time. I promise you, everyone wants to be in that state of mind, that they're doing their best and that's it. But everyone's trying their best to some extent, you understand? Everyone's trying to do better. I realize that I can see, for example, how much music I've made. I've made over 125 tracks in my life. And I released my first official album when I reached 216 tracks. Yeah, so in 216 tracks it took me over 4 years of music production, or over 8 years of since I began music production, to produce my first official album. I mean, that's a long time, but Deadmau5 said something to me in terms of audio program. He said, it might take you 10 years, it might take you 20, it might take you 30 years to finally be there. You understand? To finally get to that point where your music is really sounding good. You understand? It might take you a long time, he said. You understand? But he said, keep going. I mean, keep making music. Keep going with your life. And just understand that there are people out there making a lot of music, for example. You understand? So there are people out there who have made lots of tracks and lots of sounding music in life, and that you're not the only one. But around my crowd of people, I realize over 10,000 people that I've met in my life, only I'm the music producer right now. You understand? And there are a couple of people there in my crowd who are music producers, but I don't talk to them because they both blocked me on Instagram and on social media because they got something against me. Okay, so I move on. But I realize over 10,000 people in my life that I've met, only 3 of us are making music right now. But maybe one is not making music because he thinks that Counter-Strike is much better than his music career. So that's different. But the other guy is different. I realize he's learning on his own time. I'm different. I realize, or I can say everyone's different. You understand? Everyone's got their own thing that they're doing. Some people go in gym, work life, family life, and that's enough for them. Other people producing content and trying to make something of themselves. Other people having kids, for example, getting married. Yes, I mean, everyone's going their own separate ways, and everyone's getting married in their own time. You understand? Not everyone's getting married. You understand? Not everyone is for marriage, for example. Or else there are sick people out there who are mentally ill. You understand? Who cannot get married because they're deficient in communication. They're deficient in their life. They maybe can't have kids because something's wrong with their organs and stuff like that, or something's wrong with their minds. You know, so the thing is that there are childish people out there, you understand? So people who are so immature, just fucking around, doing nothing, you know, say making porn videos, for example. I can say that I realize that now I want to ask myself, am I satisfied? I can say I'm satisfied. I can say yeah. I could say yeah. I'm satisfied to some extent. But I feel I need to do more. You understand? I feel I need to do more. And now, is it a pain? And I mean, is it misery for me to do more? I can say no. I realize it's not a misery for me to do more. I realize, what am I missing in my life? That's the question I want to ask. To be honest, I'm not missing anything in my life. I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing out on anything. You understand? I realize it's true that I could have maybe a bit more experiences with other people. You understand? Or maybe I could be my best version, for example. You understand? I realize if there's anything I failed at the most is being my best version. I realize that's the only thing that I failed at. And now I didn't fail yet. You understand? I didn't fail yet. And because I still have time left. But my music is at its best. You understand? So my life coaching is at its best. You understand? My passions are at their best. You understand? I'm doing my passions the best way I can. And no matter how, let's say, unhealthy I get, I realize my passion's always going to do better. You understand? I can understand that. But I realize, for example, Tupac died at 25. I realize Biggie died at 26. Avicii died at 28. I mean, do you know how young that is? I mean, that's so young to die that early. I mean, Ziz died around 22. You understand? I mean, these people didn't even start life yet. So, I realize that's the thing. If you're not taking care of your health, then nothing's going to work out for you. But if you're creating something, I realize that's what's going to work out. You understand? What you create works out. So you just have to every single day appreciate yourself. You understand? You have to appreciate the person you are. And the more you appreciate yourself, the better you are in everything you do. So just talk it out. You understand? Talk it out with yourself every single day. Living life to the fullest as much as you can. Helping yourself to express yourself, you understand? Like, for example, the past 39 minutes, have I been happy? I realize, yeah, I've been happy. But I want to be happier. I want to get happier. I want to have more in my life. You understand? I want to have more. And now, what else do I want to have in my life? I want to have better health. I want to have better health. I mean, what else do I want? I want to experience more of life, for example. I want to experience more of life. I want to create more music. I want to create more content. You understand? I realize, how about the followers? I mean, do I want followers? I realize now the thing is that God says that it's much better for you to just realize that it's much better to have followers. You understand? To have followers all the time. I realize God says that it's much better to have followers. You understand? So always look to God for answers. And the more you look to God for answers, the more God will tell you. You understand? God will tell you everything. But don't get yourself into heroin. Don't get yourself into drugs. You understand? It's not going to make you better. You understand? What's going to make you better is looking inside for help, helping yourself to get healthier, get your best version, get to your best version. You understand? Enable yourself to listen to music more, do more content, listen to more audio programs, for example. Live your life the best way you can. Enjoy yourself, you understand? Be loved by you, you understand? Be a person who loves yourself, you understand? That's what you need to understand, that you need to love yourself every single day. You have to respect yourself. But if you don't respect yourself, people will see that you don't respect yourself, you understand? You cannot hide that. You cannot hide that love that you have for yourself, you understand? So when you're disrespecting yourself, people will see that. So either through food and drink or through sex with other people or through drugs, you know, some people understand that you don't respect yourself like that. It's best to not touch the world. Never touch the world you're in. You understand? Never touch anything in life. And you have peace and quiet. You understand? Go where silence is much more. Be in silence, because when you're in silence you can be creative, you understand? You can be much more creative when you're in silence. So be at peace with yourself every single day. Love life. Express yourself, you understand? The more you express yourself, the better you are. And the more you can do. So that's what you need to realize. You have to, every single day, just talk it out with yourself. See where you're going in life. See what you want to do, you understand? I don't have all the answers, you understand? I don't have all the answers. That's why I'm still learning, you understand? I'm still learning because I never will have all the answers. But I'm much better than yesterday in some ways. And that's the main thing. So I never want to give up, you understand? I want to keep going because I'm starting to reap rewards. I'm starting to seek much more. I'm starting to see much more success in my life. And I'm starting to seek out more success in my life as well. You understand? I never want to die in a accident. You understand? I never want to die in a house fire. I never want to die in a plane crash or a car accident. I never want to get murdered by anyone. You understand? I never want to go to prison in my life. You understand? I realize there are people out there in prison right now. I realize they're in a little box with a jail cell there. You understand? They're closed off from the world. And they cannot write their thoughts down. You understand? They have nothing to write their thoughts down on. You understand? And when they write their thoughts down, the thing is that nobody listens to them much. You understand? I realize this is a tough place to be in. Yes, it's a tough place to be in prison. I realize prison is the most toughest life, even though you do nothing there. I realize when they got nothing to do, I realize that's when they get crazy. You understand? And I realize if you have nothing to do all day long, that's a crazy life. You understand? You need something to do. You have to do something every single day. You understand? So I realize I'm not working a 9 to 5 job right now at the moment. I'm waiting for Bonnering Sports Club to call me to work there. They still haven't called me in 7 weeks now since I came back to Australia. I realised my mum's saying around March 2023 that I'll go again to Germany and stuff. But that's up to her. When she wants me there, I'll go. I'll pay for my own ticket and go. But am I going to bring my studio monitors? I realize now that's the thing. I asked God about that. I mean, what would God do? I mean, God would say to me, don't bring them. I mean, God would say, don't bring your monitors to your mum in Germany. You understand? That's what he would say. And then he would say to me, just make music with earphones and then save your music for later and upload it later. I realize that's what he would say to me. You understand? But there's coming a time where I need to go and move to my mum's house. And that's the life without my dad, for example. And now, of course, I will miss my dad. I'll miss the life here in Australia and stuff. But what exactly do I miss about Australia? I realize it's more how I just miss the point in time where I was at my greatest version. You understand? But I'm still at I'm at my greatest version now, just not in that kind of way that I was before. You understand? That makes sense. So I realize it's much more. I'm in my greatest version in some ways right now, but not in other ways. You understand? For example, body image. I'm not in my greatest way of life in terms of my body image, in terms of cigarettes and veganism. You understand? That's it, approach, nothing else. Just 3 things. But eventually they're going to drop my medication eventually. And then I'll start losing weight. Because I'm not eating too much. I'm not eating a lot. I'm eating at the right times, at the best times. And I'm not, let's say, obese, but I'm around 110 kilos now. Yes, and so I have to lose weight. But I'm happy. I'm happy on some ways. I'm happy in some ways. But I just need to do better, you understand? So that's the thing about my life. I need to do something every single day that's going to help my life to succeed. I need to read more. I need to help myself more. I need to do my quotes. I have to transcribe so many quotes, guys, you understand? I have to sit down and do it, you understand? Because I actually started on quote book 4 and now I'm up to 24. I'm up to quote book 24, guys. Alright, that's 20 quote books I've done. You understand? I'm almost finished my 24th quote book. You understand? So I started on quote book 1, for example, but I paid the first 3 quote books. I paid for somebody else to write it all down for me. But I realize now that I do much better now. You know, so I'm doing much better in some ways, but I have to stay away from that coffee. And now, once I tackle the coffee, I stay away from it for good. I can then tackle cigarettes much better. So it's a slow process. I understand that, and then hopefully get back in the gym very soon. I want to get myself back in the gym. I want to start losing weight. I want to start losing weight so I can help myself to succeed.